Starting with the dogged apprentice. He stands on deck, staring at the glittering geode beyond the Royal Marines. His lips twitch. He has something to say. The apprentice's voice catches in his throat when he tries to speak. Finally, he takes a deep breath and manages to whisper. He'll make thousands more, just like the first one. He turns to you. Beads of sweat have gathered at his temples. I wanted to defy the laws of nature, but not like that. And now the sea will burn. The dogged apprentice dabs his forehead with a handkerchief, then brushes past you to join the bright-eyed people of the Grand Geode. Apparently, this particular shop makes even fuel cost lamentable relics, so we're going to have to try to limp somewhere on 2 and about an 1/8 barrel of fuel. The crotchety tobacconist shakes her hand vigorously. I owe you my gratitude. This will be a fine place for us to produce more of these underwater beauties. By this time next year, should have the entire Z burning. He extracts the cigar from his seemingly bottomless case, but pauses before lighting it. Thank you again, my friend. I mean, we can. We're not gonna die, at least. I'm glad I have supplies to burn, but I'm still pissed. Yeah, you have to be this close for that offer of assistance to come up. We don't need it. We can limp into the harbor on what's left of this. I'm gonna go down to Gator's Morn, get rid of this freaking passenger. Then go up through Demew, Godfall, Khan's Heart, Khan's Glory. Or Demew, Pegmont Isle, Khan's Heart, Khan's Glory. That'd be better. Just want to get to freaking Iron. I am very, very, very sick of everything sending me in every direction except Iron. I want to check one thing before I stop. And I really probably should stop because I'm getting downright irritated at this point. I'm going to try one more time. And I swear, if something sends me back to London and we still haven't gotten to Irem, I'm stopping. For realsies this time, because I'm losing my mind here. Also, something's probably going to happen to our freaking mirror catch box the second I finally do this, but the only reason we've really been carrying a second one, because we have not once, we've always gotten a wound when filling one at Esteval, so I don't want to fill 2 in a row at Esteval. The only reason I've kept carrying the second one is because I'm worried that sometimes if sales go wrong or whatever, they'll take your entire mirror catch box. They won't give the empty one back. So I've been carrying the extra one, but frankly at this point it's just not worth the hold space. Sell it for the 200. We only lost 50 on it because we purchased it here for 250. And if we lose our only mirror catch box, we'll just come back and buy a new one. You know, they actually sell dark coffee here at a half decent price, so as opposed to after you get enough favor to initially get the trade license, if you need to just run coffee back and forth for a minute to convince them to lower their suspicion, you absolutely can do that. So I'm not going to worry about running coffee up here anymore. I can just lower their suspicion whenever I need to, basically. So I'm not going to worry about it until and unless we actually get the ability to set up an intelligence network, which so far I have not figured out how to do. I know I did it once, but I can't for the life of me remember how I did it. Okay. So we have just enough space to buy the 7 romantic literature that guy in London wants. We're not going back to London yet. We are carrying on to Irem. Honestly, I'm just gonna wait for the freaking crew to eat this freaking creative supplies, because they're about to. Please, please do it. I'm begging y'all. Hunger 49, are you kidding me? They eat at 50. Eat the food. Please. That wasn't me putting a filter on my voice, that was my voice. Mint to take her to Gatorsmore. I'll get it eventually. I'm probably not going to get it this evening, hopefully. I usually check my hold as part of... Bill is giving me the look of, I don't believe you. He's also jammed a handkerchief in his nose. And yes, I am telling them that because you kind of ticked me off just a little with that look. Not bothering with Gatorsmore. I just want to see how this strange catch to soothe Cooper's long box to whatever the hell we're doing with the Claudery Air works. That's all I've wanted for the last, like, hour and a half, 2 hours. And just everything is getting in my way. And even though snow is not supposed to affect you underwater, I've tried this like 3 times. Twice it didn't, 4 times. I've tried this a few different times. Sometimes it affects you and sometimes it doesn't. It feels like it's not supposed to, and sometimes it just does anyway. Because it's snowing on the surface of the water right now. And even though it makes no sense for that to affect anything when we're down on the seafloor, sometimes it just does. Which is slowing us down further. Because of course. Oh, we found the next ritual we need to do. At the end of the upturned nave, gigantic stone feet are firmly planted on the floor above you. You swim down toward the ceiling, following the legs until you come to a pair of cupped hands. Growing out of the feminine palms is an oyster of preposterous enormity. It opens at your approach. You enter, it closes around you and drains of water, allowing you to remove your diving helmet. Not that there's reason to continue wearing it, your air hose is severed. The oyster is heavy with gray, slimy meat. Its flesh is succulent. Juice sprays with each bite. When you finish, you tie off your air hose and don your helmet. You take a deep breath and swim back to your submarine. Okay, I guess we have hell of lung capacity. Strange catch for 25 acres. If I remember correctly. We have enough room for theoretically 10, but I'm not going to buy that many. Since it's 2 for each, but we can only do the trade every once in a while. I can't just spam it. If I could go to Demu Island and just spam it, I might buy 10. Or I might at least buy 8. But we can't, and I don't want our hold being completely clogged up with strange catches while we're waiting on it, so we're just going to buy 6. We don't need to go to the Gamp Hole or the Chelenate. We're just going to go back through Frostfound for more stuff. Stop by the Undercrow to let them know we delivered that message ages ago. Do the Northern Circuit back to London. And finally stop for the evening. I have definitely been playing for at least 10 hours at this point. At least. I am going fairly insane. Bestow the Lauditudinarian's forgiveness. The almost dead man has less to apologize for than he thought. Just like that. Forgiven. The almost dead man is agape. He insists you repeat the exchange, probing it for falsehood or insincerity. Then he shakes his head with some effort and releases an immense sigh. For a moment, he resembles a bloated, beatrific cherub. This better be the last letter. You say final letter, it better be the last one. Deliver a final letter to the burning lady in Anth. One last message. The almost dead man clutches it to his chest. The third letter. She was... The man's voice catches. With a trembling hand, he caresses the decorated R on the seal. I never should have left her. The old man's fingers are loath to release the letter. When they do, the most moth trembles in his chest. The incomparable Aurelian has the decency to look away. Dude, I know this is important, but I should perhaps mention that she has amnescence, and reading this might be really bad for her. Because if she feels any kind of emotion, it apparently makes it worse, even though that didn't really come up with the brisk campaigner for some reason. going to first provide a lecture on the social stratification of visage again, which should improve her health. Curative tedium. Witness Rosina's recovery. She's been looking better and better. If you were hoping for praise, gratitude, and perhaps some thankful tears, they are not forthcoming. Bring my logbook, Rosina tells her nurses. I need to review the records. She looks in your direction. Would you be able to replicate the treatment you gave me? 93% chance. If she would benefit from being taught the means of treatment, you would be more than happy. This will be rewarding if you succeed and terrifying if you fail. I swear, up, down, and sideways, if I fail a 93% roll after all of this, I might scream. An exact accounting. Okay, we succeeded. Thank you. You explain everything that you did, the resources you used, the sources from which you got them. Rosina cross-references this information with her records. Line up temperature and state of sleep with each dose, she tells her nurses. Don't leave anything out. We will cure this in the end. Okay, she's actually recovered now, and giving her the love letter won't be a risk. Okay, glad I told her about visage for like the second or third time first. Okay, she can actually cure a wound for 2 supplies if we would need it, which actually might be useful in Anth, because I think it is possible to get wounded here depending on how you're trying to get sharpness. Here's the love letter. A letter savored. Rosina reads slowly. After a sentence or two, she looks in your direction. Her expression is fierce, as though you were talking in church. You step away into the other room until she is ready for you to return. When you do, she says, "Return to Lorenzo and give him my love. It's too late for me to assist Lorenzo, if I ever could. But if you do happen to see what is born from him, it will be worth remembering." And speak about her history. How did she come to take amniescence? I ran the amniescence hospital in Adam's Way. I was scrupulous, was never present when a patient burst into flame. When I felt too much pity, I would reassign staff, but I was less cautious outside the hospital. She goes to her stock of instruments and swabs each in ice water. I had received news that an enemy of mine was shamed and embarrassed. I was so carried away with angry pleasure, I actually think I was talking to myself. Of course, in that mood, I was far too vulnerable not to take the disease, when an amniescent beggar combusted in the street. The Nadine sent him to infect me. What news gave you such angry pleasure? She's being elusive about the detail. A savage smile. The Presbyterian do not share their immortality, she says, and she holds a blade to the flame, but one of them made an exception for his daughter and broke all the laws of his kind to send her the gift, because he hoped it would reconcile the rift between them. Her face is blank where anger would be, if her spleen were not a prism. Miriam, the daughter, she gave the gift away to a Caganian general to spite her father and punish the Presbyterian, the last person they would have wanted to immortalize. I found that outcome satisfying. Actually, our terror is very low. What are our odds? And sharpness is a hearts check. So we have the bonus right now, 40%. 7 terror. I'm willing to roll it until we have about 20-ish terror. One more. Nights of meditation. We did get it. The environment is a help, but you must also prepare your mind and will. Going sharp means giving up many sensations. So I don't really know if I had a plan at any point for what I wanted to take. If I did, it's long gone. So we can go sharpen the liver, take on a proud indifference to toxins, fraternize with spies, assassins, professional poisoners, and those who need to survive on strange diets. Skipping that one. Mineralize your skeleton. Strength that cannot be seen is often the most praiseworthy. Walk among the laborers, the circus strongwomen, the persons of iron will and unshakable integrity. Let your skin be as clear as water and as hard as armor. This is where the fighters are, and those who got tired of their scars, and people too proud to hide anything about themselves. the bone barrow. The room is oval in cross-section and about 50 feet long. The walls are packed earth rather than stone. The inhabitants take turns to hold up the part of the ceiling that is in danger of caving in. I still don't recommend falling from a height, one of the old-timers is saying to a new member. True, you won't break your bones. Now they'll break you. Tear right through your muscle and skin and stick out. Ha! Unless you go the rest of the way and grow a sharp skin, but a bit tasteless that, isn't it? You can also chase down that polythyreme exile. I think we needed the skeleton to go talk to him. He's lurking in the back of femur and lung. This sharp flourishing is not for him. The femur and lung is a drinking house 2 passageways along from the bone barrow. The tables are crowded with miners and fungers. The clay man is ignored by the company, unwelcome. He shows you the palms of his hands, where tricklet crystals grow every which way, ragged and disorganized. It is difficult for clay to go sharp. Sometimes it succeeds, but the failures are awkward. Polythyreme, make it clay again. Heal everything. Okay, he wants us to take him back to polythyreme. Yeah, we can do that. 85% chance to hold up the ceiling. Let's see what happens. A proud display. Your skeleton bears a lot of the pressure, and your muscles and ligaments have been strengthened too, but much still depends on your muscular force. The weight of rock depends on your shoulders, your legs, and your lower back. And how can anyone support all that? But you managed long enough to win a hearty cheer and a heartier drink. Apparently, we still lose the echoes, even if we win the bet. So that's kind of just an expensive way to reduce terror. Okay, recount Rosina's response to the almost dead man. What did she say? Eagerness is unbecoming on a bulbous cadaver. Tell him quickly. Giddy as an almost dead schoolboy. His wheezing turns to laughter. Even the Aurelian shares his smile. For a moment, the damp cave has the warmth of home. He's not saying anything new from what I've skim-read there. Okay, observe a private moment. A hushed conversation between the incomparable Aurelian and his aging master. A moment demanding reverence and privacy, or at least discreet eavesdropping. I don't really have any other option here to progress things, so... okay. Well, damn it. The almost dead man's voice is a hoarse whisper, unrecognizable from the shadows. As you move closer, his sunken eyes catch yours. Was that a wink? My boy, he says to the incomparable Aurelian, his voice clearer for your benefit, when my time is done, do you really intend to pen my only legacy for one of your displays? The younger man looks aghast and then breaks into warm laughter. Of course not, sir. No spreading board could hold you. So he didn't care that I heard. Or he was going to say something else until he saw me. I'm not sure, but... Attend to the hatching. The almost dead man's breathing has faded to a rattle. Joylessly, the incomparable Aurelian says, it's time. At long last, the passage is gentle but not without horrors. You ensure that pain is kept to a minimum, while the incomparable Aurelian sits by the old man's side, taking notes in one hand and holding his mentor's hand with the other. There's almost no thrashing, and once everything is still, and translucent wings quiver in the cave smoke, the notebook is filled. Lorenzo's face is serene and empty. Feathered antennae brush across it. Multifaceted eyes regard you with curiosity. Wordlessly, the incomparable Aurelian hands you a small velvet bag as payment, then returns to meticulously reproducing every scale of the most moth's wings in a new notebook. Succeeded in an undercrow dying grace challenge. The higher the quality, the greater the chance of success. So I think because we did give him quite a few things. We gave him like Z stories, wine, prisoner's honey. We also handled the letters pretty well. It apparently went well. Lorenzo has shed his life, gained a secret and 1,000 echoes. Deal with what's left behind. Lorenzo the Most Moth stretches its scaled wings lazily. The incomparable Aurelian continues his sketches without a thought of his old master's corpse shell. Drawn to the fire. Reluctantly, the Aurelian closes his notebook. If I keep the lighthouse fire burning, I could observe you for a lifetime, he tells the moth. But there's a final matter of his to deal with. He turns to the crumpled remains of the almost dead man. His brother, the factor at Port Demu, will want something to bury. He can make do with this husk. With a rush of wind, the Moonmoth flies up into the fog, circling the fire and casting flickering patterns onto the cave walls. Discuss Lorenzo's passing. The incomparable Aurelian sits on the stone table that was his friend's deathbed, listlessly staring at his collection. A quiet celebration. Without looking up, the incomparable Aurelian tells you that your assistance has been appreciated. Studying the Moonmoth so closely will be the highlight of my career, he says excitedly. I'm sure Lorenzo would want to thank you as well. Looking up from his book of pressed moths, the incomparable Aurelian fixes you with his stare. Lorenzo came to the Neath looking for a way to cheat death. I can't say whether or not he succeeded. I mean, it honestly didn't seem that bad from what we witnessed. So, and maybe some part of that moth is him? I really can't say. A triumph over death, albeit a messy one. Life is unreliably pleasant, but it's better than the alternative. Lorenzo found a way to prolong it. It was, after all, why he came to the Neath. The incomparable Aurelian sighs. He has a new life now, maybe a happier one. He closes his collection book with a quiet smile. You catch the incomparable Aurelian between tending to his friend's corpse and preserving a particularly curious cave moth. Quiet and contented, just detailing the latest pattern of Lorenzo's wings. I believe they change in conjunction with the false stars, although it'll take some study to be sure. Somewhere high above, you can hear the slow, steady beating of Lorenzo's wings. He returns every so often, misses the smell of the fire, I suspect. A visit from Lorenzo. You're just reaching the climax of a good tale when a sudden gust of wind sends the firelight guttering. You both take cover as the Moonmoth Lorenzo descends onto his old stone table. Feathered antennae brush against your face. The incomparable Aurelian eagerly studies the latest patterns of its scaled wings. When the moth departs, the Aurelian proudly presents you with one of Lorenzo's cast-off scales, white as a saucer, pale as a painting of the moon. So, outlandish artifact for Z story. Might be other stuff too. That seems like probably not the only thing that can happen here, but I think for the most part the story of here is done. We need to visit Demu for a couple different reasons now. So instead of doing the usual northern circuit, I think we're gonna go straight down to Demu from here. I wonder if we had been able to cure, I believe her name was Rosalina, the lady in Anth, if we'd been able to help her with her amnescence before the brisk campaigner was basically swapped out her soul, if there would have been an interaction there or an alternate way of curing the brisk campaigner. Deliver Lorenzo's remains to the factor. The affable factor receives his brother's coffin solemnly. You counsel against looking within. A moth, you say? Can't say as it was how he'd have wanted to go, but I don't think he ever intended to go at all. The affable factor sighs and lights his pipe. The fungal smoke is all too familiar. Knew he'd meet a bad end with that lot. Too much stirring up trouble, not enough enjoying what they'd got. 7's an unlucky number if you ask me. He rests a hand on the coffin. Thank you anyway. I'll do something appropriate with him. Now we're stuck waiting for the frickin' something awaits you thing for the umpteenth billionth time, so that we can actually trade here. Yeah, honestly, whether we get the Clawdery Heart or something else, even though like the ship going slower is very annoying in some ways, just because of how the something awaits you thing works, it will in some ways be a good thing. Between the nearness of the island and the light, this is apparently a safe spot to just wait, and all we'd be losing is hunger. So if I need to just, if I get here and the something awaits you thing just hasn't procced and I need to wait for a bit to trade, wait right there. Provide a respite from the mushrooms. 2 strange catches for a soothing Cooper longbox. A desperate joy. The affable factor covers his mouth as he peers into the crate. He turns and stumbles, sobbing, into your arms. Meat? Oh, bless you, please and thanks. He waves in 2 sturdy bulgus fellers bearing a coffin. Part of a misdelivered consignment. I'm sure you'll find some use for it. And if not, well, there are always buyers. Here, have the experiment. It's a 93% chance. Box delivered to the surgery. She refuses to let you watch while she works on the contents of the box, but afterward, she's in a dark mood and complains in generalities. People are fools, and no one dares face up to what is wrong with them. Hiding a secret from yourself does not make it go away. Pretending anger doesn't exist is not the same thing as patience. Whatever operation she's just done, she's kept a souvenir from it, but she won't show anyone what it is. She wraps it up in cotton wool and keeps it in a little lacquered box left over from the sale of tea. Gained some fragments, but mostly just the Claudery souvenir. So it's about 10% per, because it was 50 before. So we have enough for 3 long boxes. I'm not going to sit here and wait for the bells to ring each time. I don't think we could have enough. Well, we might have enough food for that, but I don't have the patience for it. We have enough to get 3 of the boxes, and then if we go up to Irem and buy 4 more strange catches, we'll have enough to get the other 2 we need. That's acceptable. We'll do that, and then we just get to keep her and the heart, I think. Hopefully. I'm not doing it tonight, though. I am, like, tired was a while ago. We're at exhausted. Yep, but not carrying anything that you're caring about. Almost like a tiny bit. Like, luckily, oh, seriously? It said 0 echoes. You said nothing else. So yeah, we did lose our mirror catch box. God, game. I'll just buy a new one, but yeah, apparently they'll take empty mirror catch boxes as well, not just sunlight. You said fucking sunlight. Because yeah, we could have hit it, and I would have attempted to, but it said 0 echoes, so I'm like, okay, at worst I might pay some taxes on the romantic literature, and that'll be fine. I guess we'll have to get an empty mirror catch box from Con Shadow next time. And from now on, even though it's not full, apparently you'll just give them your empty mirror catch box. The game really needs to make that clear. That is so fucking asinine. Honestly, I'm glad I sold the other one, or we would have lost both mirror catch boxes, which would have just been even more money lost. So yeah, it's mostly down to getting a few more of each type of story, particularly Z stories, because we keep having to buy Muter Salt. Secrets. Getting that last item, which we only need strange catches for, so that's not hard. The port reports aren't hard, and the Dread Surmise, if we had enough echoes, we could go buy extraordinary implications, and I believe you can use those to make Searing Enigmas, and then with enough Searing Enigmas, make the Dread Surmise, so that really just comes down to visiting Irem plus money. And we have a metric crap ton of money. I would buy the boat, but we're thinking about we might be getting a free boat in a moment, and that's the best kind of boat. So yeah, we might actually be making some serious headway on the reaching our goal, which would be my very first captain to ever reach any of the goals. I think everything is set so that I can leave and everything is ready to go. We're going to try to finish the ritual with the abysses next time. We're going to keep doing the trading with the strange catch to Demew Island for Soothing Cooper long boxes for the Claudriere. Once the Claudriere is finally convinced that her dad is a normal person, we will go and get the Claudry heart from Port Carnelian. Then we'll be able to evaluate our new boat and see if we want to keep it or if we want to trade it in for a different boat. Beyond that, we'll also get some extra strange catches from Irem, 7 additional ones to be exact, after we're done with the Claudriere, who I think is going to need 4 more for the Claudriere, and then 7 more for a total of 11 strange catches. Maybe not all at once, but 11 in total. We'll make the last, item in our study that we'll need for the Song of the Z, and then the only things for our goal is going to be effectively secrets and stories, and then sorting out getting the Dread Surmise. I still like this game. I've just been playing it for too long. Don't worry. I am a little bit pissed off still about the empty mirror catch box, but at the end of the day, it's effectively 250 echoes. We have over 20k echoes. We're fine. So I will see you guys next time. Hopefully with enough of my energy recovered to do more than just the absolute bare minimum on narration.